Hello and welcome everyone to yet another episode of Red Cape Sports. I'm Bird Bouchard. Along with me through the internet is Mitch.
Mitchell Bouchard. Dude, it's going good, man. Yeah, let's get right to it. Let's talk about that, The Last Dance. What'd you think of the documentary? So I want to hear your thoughts. We haven't talked about it yet, so.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, I really enjoyed the documentary. I thought it was really cool to see never before seen footage, and the way that they were able to capture Michael Jordan's mind almost, right? Seeing seeing his mom speak about him from a young age, being able to see inside the locker room. That was stuff that, as fans, we don't we don't get to see any of that. So that's what I really enjoyed about it. And I mean, I'm 24 years old. Obviously, I got to see Michael Jordan play towards the end of his career. But it was really cool to go back and kind of follow these storylines that I never even really heard of. Like, I knew about the feud between Pippen and the GM, but I didn't know how serious it was. So to be able to kind of be truly that's the kind of feeling I got. I got the feeling that the camera crew was a fly on the wall. So that was really cool.
Yeah, it kind of had like a cinema verite kind of vibe. Like they definitely let everything flow. And the coolest thing to me, and kind of the reason why I'm excited about the next ones going forward, is the fact that it really pulls you into something that you've never seen before. So like usually when you see like a star player, you've seen some of the footage, but a lot of it felt somewhat new. And man, like the floor from that time, like the gyms are different now. Like we're almost spoiled with everything, and everything that it just really showed how good Michael Jordan was in his prime. Like
Yeah, for
it
sure.
solidified that he's like, unless LeBron James like wins a few more championships, MJ's the GOAT. That's how it made me feel.
Yeah, even seeing the footage from his time at North Carolina, winning an NCAA championship as a freshman, and seeing everyone talk about how well this is how good he was in high school as a freshman, and then this is how good he was at North Carolina as a freshman, sophomore, and then even junior. So to see Michael Jordan's progression, to see the evolution of his mind, to see how he was not yelling, but rather he knew without Scottie Pippen that a lot of the bulk of the weight of winning championships, he knew that if he wanted to win a championship without Pippen, that he would have to do a lot of the work. And he really pushed his teammates. Mind you, I mean, you got guys like Wennington, guys like Kerr, and all these guys who they were good. They maybe weren't phenomenal top 50 players even in the league, but that's just who Michael Jordan was. He was able to bring you from you're a good player to you're able to help me win a championship.
Yeah. Overall, did this was this what you expected, or was there something that you were like, oh, I didn't know he was that good, or I didn't know all those underlining things happening.
I knew Michael Jordan was good. And like I said, I got to see him specifically towards the tail end of his career. What I really liked about the documentary, I mean, there was stuff that I really liked and stuff that was just okay. The thing that I enjoyed most about the documentary was hearing everyone else tap into Michael's mind and kind of say, he's good, but not because of his skill, not because of whatever. He's good because of, like I just mentioned, his ability to make everyone else better. He's good because of the work he puts into the gym. And that was really cool. In terms of documentary, I knew that there was so much hype going into this. I mean, we saw what Michael Jordan's card prices did. I didn't like anything though, right? I mean, even Batman movies or any kind of movies, when there's hype built around it, I'm always left somewhat disappointed, if that makes any kind of sense. But overall, I mean, I would give this a solid like 8.7 out of 10. And I mean, I'm not trying to be like a doc critic, but I really enjoyed it. I'm very excited to see. Now, I mean, they just released two parts of the 10-part series, and I feel like we're only just beginning. I feel like they're probably going to dive deeper into Pippen. They're probably going to dive a lot deeper into Steve Kerr eventually, and that's also what I'm interested in too. Like Steve Kerr, got to play for one of the greatest basketball teams of all time and got to play with one of the greatest basketball players of all time and even best basketball coaches, right? That was Steve Kerr. And now he's playing with arguably, well, pardon me, coaching with arguably the greatest shooter of all time in Steph Curry. And even Kevin Durant was pretty great, and he's a coach. So I'm really interested to see a lot of Steve Kerr. And since we are a sports card channel, I kind of looked into it, and I feel like Steve Kerr is pretty undervalued as well.
Yeah. Well, definitely, that's one thing that I did want to get into kind of later, but since the whole, documentary thing's happening, and I feel like the whole release of it, it's done as good as what I thought it would do. It hasn't like exceeded or it definitely hasn't fell short from what I thought it would do. But with the whole retirement too, though, and the going to baseball, like, do you think the documentary will hit on that? Because that's a because I just don't want them to like alter the history in that sense, right? Because that's a big part. Like it's not even the whole gambling issue. It's more the fact that like what are really all the reasons? Like it's gonna be interesting to hear what other people say. But again, I know how much video can be spun just with using music and people saying things. Like I mean the whole like what is it the whole Tiger King documentary. That was. I mean, a lot of people are coming out saying, hey, these are just characters. Like, a lot of that stuff is planned. A lot of it is staged, right? So I just don't know how much of that we're going to be talking about for this documentary as well.
Well, I mean, we still have 8 more episodes left. And that's another thing that I did want to mention really quickly, too, was like any good documentary, I mean, for the most part, they're all released at once, and then you can kind of binge watch it. Mm-hmm. But I like the fact that they're only releasing these 2 episodes at a time, and then we get to see people like Magic Johnson, we get to see people like Kevin Durant, people like J.J. Watt from football commenting on this and almost, live tweeting it. It just makes for a much more enjoyable time watching, I guess, because as you're reacting to it, some of the best athletes of all time are also reacting to it, and I feel like if it were just all released at once, we wouldn't have the opportunity to do so. And I think it's really cool, right? I mean, Chicago was a really cool place. We got to hear from a young Barack Obama. I'm sure we'll hear from Dwayne Wade, who also grew up in that area too. So we only got a couple more days. We got 5 more days until I give away 2 of those Austin Meadow cards. So for those who haven't already done so, you can go on our free Facebook page. Scroll down. I'm sure you can find the post of mine. Should be like a little fire contest alert. And basically what it is, I'm giving away 2 free Austin Meadow rookie cards to the person who correctly guesses the closest average sale value of Michael Jordan's rookie cards. And I believe we decided to go with the Fleer card. I can't remember if it was the 87 version or whatever it was, but I did have a photo there, so it's completely free, and I definitely suggest people hop onto that.
Yeah, there's so much to go into it. But yeah, absolutely. What do you think, yes or no, to get Michael Jordan cards? And if so, which ones would you be looking at? I know for me, a bit of Kevin, the Shark. We got some MJs. And Bird, if you want to, you can round robin one of these. We got him for a steal.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Yes is definitely going to be my answer. As they say, right, there's never been a better time to invest in sports cards than yesterday. So whenever you're watching this, now is going to be a good time. And without going too far into it, right, I mean, at one point you could invest in Tesla stocks for less than $100. And had you done that, now with it being at $750 plus, even $800, and I feel like more people are just starting to, how do I put this? More people are just starting to get their feet wet into the market. And as the internet and 5G starts to roll out and more of the world gets connected to the internet, there's just going to be so many more opportunities for this industry to grow. So obviously, if the price is right, go for it. Don't be scared to get, in this case, a card that's not a rookie, because you really never know in this industry. Like they say, what's it worth? Well, it's worth whatever someone's willing to pay for it. So if you can create the demand, then go for it.
I just have one more thought. I think that Despite everything bad that's going on with the whole coronavirus and all that. The fact that so many people, from gambling, and I mean, you have to have people coming in from gambling and wanting to turn, $2 into $3 or thousands into, a couple $1,000s. I think once sports come back, we're going to see even new highs because now you're even more excited about the cards that you have. Like I've got some cards here. I don't want to say which one this is, but I've got some cards now where I'm like, I want to see these guys play now. I want to see what happens. That's the part of, pulling the whole, slot machine type of thing. So I think, if anything, people watching, this big documentary, if sports can come back this summer or soon, I think it's going to be big. I think we're going to see a big rise at least for a few more years, new highs.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, without getting too far into it, Wayne Gretzky actually came out on the record and said that he personally believes that this season will continue. The first round will essentially be a best of three series, and then from there, you actually begin the playoffs. So it's a really cool, interesting playoff buy-in system, just because basically what Bettman said was you don't want a team like the New York Rangers, who are literally 2 points out of playoffs with a game in hand. Is it fair to assume that they wouldn't make playoffs? No. So what they're going to do is really expand it and just the bottom six teams. I'm talking about the Detroit Red Wings, a team that's been out of it since opening ceremony puck draft in October. So I think it's going to be cool. I think sports are eventually going to get back, but we just can't rush to it. And I think that's really important. And again, that's why I love this hobby. I mean, I feel like it's pretty safe to just look at the cards that I already had. And I will say this. I absolutely love sports cards, and I absolutely love the people from our Facebook page. But guys, just if you're only going to the grocery store, if you're going to the grocery store to do groceries, and if you do pick up packs of cards, that's one thing. But if you're just going to the grocery store for cards, hoping to get lucky, you might want to reconsider that. Again, take my word for what it's worth. But just be safe. That's all I'll leave it at.
Definitely, you are right though. Like you guys, try don't be bragging about how you're going to Walmart just to get cards. Like, hopefully, you're there to get food and other supplies too. I mean, that is pretty savage too. But anyways, that's all I want to say. So again, if you guys want to check out Red Cape Sports, browse the site. We have sports cards on there. Also, just smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't, right? So